Hey everybody, now everyone can hear us. Welcome to episode whatever this is of Talking Initiative.
Hey.
I actually don't know what number this is. We're covering episodes 35 and 37 in the podcast.
35 through 37.
Through 37, yes, through 37.
We're not talking about 36.
Screw 36.
36 was boring. No one needs to know what happened in it. Anyway, so yeah, we're covering 35 through 37. I'm the one hosting this, so I'll just keep talking until someone stops me. I'm Drew Tillman of Taking Initiative, and I play one of, 9 characters. Somebody want to take this away from me, please?
I'm Josh Perault. I'm the DM of this mess, and people are very mad at me right now.
Yeah. I'm Nick. I play Kent on Taking Initiative, and I'm still mad at you for all of this. I can hold a grudge forever. So.
I'm Bucky, and I play Ven, and I wasn't there for most of that.
Yeah, that's true.
My name's Morgan, and I play Charlotte, and Drew and I were not there for a very portion of what at some point after after the whole thing airs, Drew and I should release the Google Doc chat that we had during
long, messy Google Doc, and it's good. We can definitely release that at some point. We're joined by a very special guest. You know her as Van Richten in our podcast, but it's Celeste.
Hey everybody, I'm Celeste. I had the privilege of being on this podcast playing Van Richten for some intermediate episodes, and I happened to be on this set, so... Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for having me.
It's always good having you on here.
It's a very tight camera bunch today, so everyone needs to kind of sit still. You don't have a lot of room
we gotta
to move around on.
Okay.
No, just the windows are very small.
I'm on a swirly chair, so no
I also wore my special shirt today.
Oh yes,
all the death that happened.
Bucky's wearing his very fancy shirt.
Always sunny in Barovia.
Even though it's not the appropriate shirt for what I did to all of you.
That's true.
You're a murderer. But let's kick off this fun-filled fest of 3 episodes that we have to get through in an hour. And start with 35. I wasn't in it, so I'm not going to talk.
Well, before that even starts, Fat Cat, or Kitty Cat, she says, "Oh my God, Nick is here." Yes.
Hey!
And hello!
Actually in the building.
Yes.
I mean, his building, not this one. This is a different building.
We're all in very different buildings.
I almost didn't make it.
Well, me and Drew, we're in the same building.
Shh, don't tell anyone that. You're outside. I should be outside, but I'm not.
That was an important fact that Nick is here, and it's always better when we have a Nick.
Yes, Nick is here. He's quite literally the bard of our group. He keeps us going.
No pressure. Jeez.
No, just you being you. Just you don't have to do anything. We're just like, oh, so much better
now. So 35. This was the start of House of the Rising Spoops. This is after the catastrophe of the Coffin Maker house that happened in episode 34, where we unfortunately lost Roz and Ferguson to vampire spawn. And it was a very sad scene of Ven and Kent chilling in the Blue Water Inn, drinking away their problems and crying.
And if you are a Patreon subscriber, you have access to the drawing that I did of that exact moment of Kent looking for the last friends he has in the world. You can cry like I cried drawing it.
Yeah, it was. I was there while you were drawing it, and there was emotions being felt mid-tablet, like stylus.
Mostly rage at some point.
But hey, plot twist of the episode. We were having a chat, and then Ven came up with a plan, and I was like, "Hey, we need Van Richten for a plan." And then he was all like, "Yo, he's upstairs," and I was like, "Oh shit!" And then we went and said, "What up?"
Yes.
Machina.
Yeah.
Which Celeste and I did talk for quite a while before then of like, what did Van Richten go through when he was fighting the werewolves? Because that's the last time that we saw him. Yep. What happened with the cart? What happened with Drusilla? What happened with Beauregard? What happened? And if you'd like to describe, what happened to Van Richten.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I loved working with you on that because the last time I had seen, you had seen Van Richten, he had gone down basically, like guns blazing, literally, as you all escaped. And so he managed to survive the werewolf fight somehow, but his shit was totally wrecked. Cart gone. Did we? Yeah, Beauregard died in that.
But we kept Drusilla alive.
We kept Drusilla alive because I was like, Josh, come on. My heart can't break that many times. We've already killed, pack animals, so we don't need to do that again. So I got away with Drusilla. Oh, and then, but I had a run-in with an old, right? So this is me trying to remember everything that happened.
It has been a while since
it's been a long time.
It's
about a half year.
A lady friend.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to reveal that, or?
Well, I believe it was said in the episode that your old partner.
Old partner, not by name though.
Yes. My old partner had also been amongst the werewolves, and we had essentially dueled. And next time you see Van Richten, he lost an eye. Was it that time or the other time?
No, it was that time.
It was that time.
Yeah.
He had lost an eye in a fight with somebody, an old partner of his, and so he's pretty banged up, but had survived the werewolf encounter and had come finding you all.
Yeah, Kent and Ven, if you guys would like to continue with what happened after that.
Yeah, we met up with Van Richten, had a weird encounter because Van Richten didn't recognize Ven because I was all dragony. And then we were all like, hey, we could use your help. And you were like, all right, cool. And then we went back downstairs and we had a chat with Erwin about the plan, which was for me to go start an army, and then you and Kent to go to Rovio to pick up Callista and go do some training for a while.
And so after this whole thing, I definitely wanted to have Kent go through this, he just went through a terrible week the most terrible week of his life. So I was really trying to play the really down Kent, and then of course I really enjoy playing with Celeste, and Celeste is like, shut up, grow up.
Not Celeste, Van Richten to Kent.
I will quote
it on Kent.
Quit being a baby back.
Quick thing. Kitty Cat asked the partner that Kent took the gun from.
That is no.
Not right. Samuel Morgan was the man I took the gun from, but this was another person.
Yeah, another person. Yeah, it was sad listening to that again, because when Drew and I were on mute the whole time, I think when that happened, both of us were like, oh no!
It was a very sad moment.
It was sad, and it was it was relentless. Everybody was like, oh, Kent looks down. Let's fucking kick him when he's down.
He needed to hear it, Van Richten, because, they had this bonding experience where he had basically taught Kent, how to shoot the gun, how to control it. And then, he had made a connection with Kent, and then seeing him all down and out like this. And Van Richten was like, no student of mine is going to approach the world. You don't deserve that gun unless you can pick yourself up by your fucking bootstraps and deal with it. Because that's all Van Richten has ever done.
4 minutes after it's happened, you're you gotta fucking stop crying, bitch. Oh my god, he's still got a handprint on his face.
I was
Van Richten literally gave the "you better stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about" speech.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah.
I was shocked by it. I
saw your face when I said that. I saw your face, Nick, and I was like, yes.
But it needed to happen, because the way I was going towards that whole interaction with Kent is that he wasn't going to want to do anything. He was just going with the motions, and that's where I had planned him to go with. And Van Richten coming in and kind of checking him really does put Kent back on a path, although he is very sad, and he obviously after the plan takes place, he comes back and is a little bit more motivated. He's still a different person. So while he isn't the sulking, sad, crying every 3 minutes version I thought he was going to be, he actually kind of adapted to become more of a driven, but carrying this deep sadness inside of him, person, which was different, and actually I liked better than what I originally intended.
But then you immediately had to do some shit.
Yeah, then I had to.
Where you had to bust into a house. Well, you didn't have to bust into the house, but then you went into a house.
I bust into the house.
Yeah. I think it's just funny because like there's that one talk with and maybe I'm skipping ahead here, but it was like Van Richten, like your come to Jesus moment, and then it's like you come back to whoa, her name just went right out of my head. Callista. Sorry. And it's like, oh, we're having a touching reunion. No, she's also calling him. Like
she also, yeah.
It's like this is a little excessive.
I go for the
grow up.
Yeah. I go for the hug for Van Richten, and Van Richten slaps me in the face. Then I see Callista, and I'm like, hug, and she's like, slap across the other side of the
You know, it's Barovia. Van Richten's been here a while. You become a terrible person, even being here.
Conceal, don't feel.
So then, you had to go. You went into the house, and when you guys got to Barovia,
yeah. And then we did something that Taking Initiative is great at doing. Just the absolute best. We checked for traps. We made insight rolls,
and then we managed to get a child killed.
That's what Taking Initiative is known for as a group, is using excessive amounts of caution.
Listen, we went into this game with no healer and no one who would bother to check for traps. And let me tell you, I think we've done pretty good, okay?
Well, also, just to explain that little bit of time, because I've explained this in Discord quite a bit.
Yeah.
That moment where you saw Abraham dead and there was the writing on the wall and Van Richten was behind you and the door was propped open, there was the chance to look for traps. But I knew when I set it up that Kent would not be looking for traps. He would want to run in and make sure that Callista was okay, which was basically the point that Strahd was doing.
Brave and heroic decisions.
Exactly.
Yep.
Kent rushes in. Bad.
How many more podcasts can we reference real fast?
Sorry?
How many more podcasts can we reference about making poor decisions?
I don't know. We can make cool checks.
That's a campaign twice.
Yep. So also going into the house, I did not kill the kids outright. I actually rolled per kid, and she did not roll well. It was bad. That's why that ended up happening. There was a chance for them to live, but I kind of left it to chance, and because they're kids, they didn't have many hit points, and she...
I'm sorry, Josh, you leaving something to chance? That's unheard of.
I do want to say that it was great, because after a certain point, we started doing Google Chat, like a Google Doc that we would just like write notes in. So everyone,
Josh couldn't see.
Well, so Josh couldn't see, but that way everyone could constantly be taking notes, so we could always reference back to it. Rather than relying on any one person to write stuff down. And I remember Morgan and I were frantically typing back and forth in that chat about how Kent should have saved the child.
Trying. Well, yeah, because there was just a
like,
moment
save the child.
Can someone please?
There was a moment that you guys just went on an F-bomb brigade and calling me a monster.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm going to see if I can find it.
Well, I mean, in that sense, Josh played it very, very well, or DM'd it very well, where he didn't give me time to really like dissect the setting. You know, it was kind of a spur of the moment, and Kent is impulsive. He just lost a really good friend. He's not going to lose another one, and so while I didn't have time to think, and I think that actually led to a more tense and a great story point, I think, that Kent would do that.
That was absolutely the point. And also one of the first times I got to kind of experiment with pacing, except for when we did Podcast of Annihilation, because I did the real life timer. This was more of I am going to talk fast. I am going to push. You will not have time to think, and you just have to do.
Yeah. Which
was fun. So if you're DMing something, I would recommend it. Not often, because it gets very, very stressful. But use it at the right times. It can be a lot of fun to do.
I mean, I was fun. I was fine with it. I
was cool as a cucumber, because let me tell you, it's like my character wasn't even there.
I found our notes, and first off it says Ken gets torn, and this is in parentheses, one new asshole.
Exactly one.
And then it goes down a little bit, and then it's like, oh, everybody getting a new asshole tonight. Let me see if I can find the kid moment. We said, oh, bye, Abraham. Rest in peace. We can't leave Josh alone with a PC for 1 second.
That also, just to clarify, Drew and I did talk about that to make sure that this was an okay decision. And we agreed that it was okay if Abraham died. He did not want to play him again.
That's good because he was terrible and I hated him.
He wasn't that bad. Why did everyone hate him?
I hated him.
Nick, he was bad for reasons that you should recognize.
The moment where the kid thing happens, I went, oh no, oh my god, Josh, what the fuck? And he went, fuck, he's a monster of a person, confirmed.
Yeah. So we get Callista out of the house.
Yeah.
Callista and Ismark, you guys get out of the house. Down to one child.
Immediately forget that Ismark exists.
Yep.
And Will Ford.
Right after you save his life.
Because let me tell you, he's just such a wooden personality.
He's very
poor
quiet.
NPCs. Oh,
I feel like that's a common thing. Maybe it's a thing we continue in talking and taking initiative, where NPCs we just like forget they're there.
We're very bad about interacting with NPCs in Curse of Strahd.
Yeah.
well, they're all just so depressing.
Well, they are, and also more than half are just like 1 silver for a cup of wine. Like, I don't care, man. Fuck off and get me
I
home.
don't have a soul.
Like, just give me the wine. Shut up.
God.
Screaming. There's so much screaming. You're like,
After that, you guys went into the church and like settled for a while. It cut to Ven, and he had a conversation with Vladimir, and it essentially boiled down to piss off Ghost. And then cut back to you guys, who were the more interesting party. And you got Callista. You guys reconvened and made your way back to Valakai to initiate a montage.
Yeah, that was something that was decided, a little bit beforehand, that we were going to do a time jump, especially because, we had just gotten destroyed by vampire spawn on a mission that we should not have even taken to begin with. So I don't know if it's a little bit too much of a peek behind the curtain, but we kind of were just like, all right, where do we go from here?
That's what this is for, man. Peek behind the curtain all you want.
Yeah.
So it was decided to do a time jump where our characters would progress. We could do we could do different things where what?
Let's do time warp again.
And then our characters would level up, and we would be able to change personality slightly. We would be able to have things happen that would take a very long time happen in a few sentences, which is really nice, and really push the story forward so that way we can reach the climax of the story a little bit quicker than we would have before.
Yeah, it also gave us a really good opportunity for Drew and I to jump back in instead of being like, we know we've got a lot going on, but behold, you've got 2 new people. They've just shown up in the bar going, oh, is there a party? We'd like to join the party, please.
I will also say that I'm kind of glad that we started out, when we did start out at the year later point, we did still start out separate, and we allowed, I forget who I was talking to, but they were saying how we were glad that we managed to have that initial meeting point be a point. In the show. Yeah, well, we were talking at the Discord, and we had allowed us meeting up again for the first time to be a thing, because a lot of people would just skip over that and be like, and you guys are back together again. But we allowed that to like manifest organically in the show, where we were like, this is the first time we're seeing each other again in over a year. How would these characters interact with each other?
Yeah, these 3 episodes had a lot of experimentation with how the story was told and how we're going about it. And yes, we did talk initially of doing the time jump because it required you guys to level up, and it was also something I didn't want to skip a year of your characters' lives without talking to you first, because that's a little rude. So we got to experience the hyped up sequence of just very fast events, then the A-B structure of popping over from Kent and Van Richten and Callista to Ven, and kind of going back and forth, and we didn't cut that in a way that we did one whole thing and then did the whole thing afterwards. We actually did the A-B during the session at just natural cutting in points. And
sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No, because when you were talking to me about like this whole thing and the time jump and the montage, I was like, what, Josh, what is this? Like, how would I DM that? I don't like, what is it going to happen? But I was part of it, and I was like, this is really fucking cool. So like as a DM, I was like mind blown. This is a cool thing.
Yeah.
Top notch listening.
The only thing I, if in hindsight, I would have done a little different in that time jump is talk to Celeste a little bit more about what Van Richten would want to have taught us in that time. I kind of just internally decided where Kent wanted to go. And spending that much time, I really probably should have gone back and been like, all right, well, what would my mentor want me to be like after our time together? But I think that it wasn't too bad.
I feel like Van Richten was like pretty clear about the kind of man he was and where he wanted you to go. And I feel like, as we were playing, I was like, you're done. That's what I felt like the montage. I was like, Van Richten has had his time. He's ready to go.
And I really did enjoy that reunion moment of bringing you guys back together because it would have been cheaping the audience of having that interaction. It's been a whole year. You just don't cut back into a movie after a time jump. They're like, we're all together again.
Yeah.
Having that meeting and also having
they do that sometimes.
They do.
It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, but I like this one better.
I like what we did. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying movies do that thing sometimes.
That are completely new. And you had Ven as that kind of funnel of like, we don't have everybody else to worry about right now. That whole reunion, we're putting that aside to go, hey, here's the new characters. Let's pull them in a very small section and then pull everybody together. Afterwards.
It's like when you go to a party and you only know the one person at the party, but that person who you're going to meet knows the other people that are there and they have to channel them in and be like, these are my other friends. It's not awkward.
Nice comparison.
It also though does give like this opportunity to show like really the things that have changed, because when you meet Ven again, he's got a much shorter patience. He's very quick to snap. You can tell that he's been in position of authority for long enough that he's just very much expecting people to do what he says and shut the fuck up about it. And so it's a very different Ven than the Ven we left, so it does give an opportunity to say, okay, who is Ven now from Kent's perspective, from Callista's perspective? We hadn't had Callista around for a while, so what's she going to be like this time? So it did give us an opportunity as characters to like evolve and to take them in new places and bring everybody along for the ride for it.
Totally.
Then after that, you guys met and then started to plan and to go back into this house.
Which was my favorite line that you said, you said, Ismark draws his sword and plans. Yep. Why would he do that?
Well, because he drew a sword on a piece of paper. Come on, let's be honest. He drew a sword on a sheet of paper and then planned.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Also, now that we've gotten to this point, I want to officially apologize for that terrible voice I did. I was sitting there for 2 hours quietly, and then Josh was like, okay, now you guys talk, and I had a fucking panic. I panicked real bad.
And that's just the voice he went with.
It gets better. It definitely, guys, if you're like, Krusk's voice is a little strange.
If you know anything about Drew,
he
finds his voice eventually.
Yeah.
Eventually.
38, it hones it.
You know what? There's a lot of dress rehearsal I need to have.
I mean, I will say you nailed Abraham. You nailed fucking Ferguson. 50-50. You're on par.
I'm there, don't worry. But I wanted to apologize because I know it's not fun to listen to.
I thought it was fun. I also, Mitch Hedberg is one of my favorite.
It's funny, but like I was like, I wouldn't want to make anyone listen to that for however many episodes this goes on.
Yeah. It did feel kind of disingenuous to like Krusk because a character, because I know and we know that he's like actually a very smart character, and it just felt like he was fucking with people. But I feel like that's also very fair of Krusk as well. If like maybe I'll do a stupid voice just to throw people off.
Anything to entertain his lovely wife.
Yay. But yeah, that was also, I mean, we had been sitting for what, like 3 hours.
We'd been sitting there very quietly for a very long time.
I mean, not quietly at all. We had our mics muted, which meant we were technically quiet, but like poor Bucky had to like edit out all the times on our audio tracks where we were just like
saying stupid things.
I mean, it was super easy for me to edit that out because for 2 episodes you weren't there, so I was just like, delete track.
Oh, this is the moment where Morgan snort laughed because Drew made a joke.
I made a lot of those behind the scenes during those episodes.
We made a lot. There were quite a few ridiculous jokes. There's a moment in the cart where Callista says something to no, it's later. Never mind. I take it back. It's later. I don't want to spoil anything, but I made a My Chemical Romance joke that I'm very proud of. But yeah, it was good to come back. Like sitting out of a D&D session while everybody else is doing stuff was like, I want to get back. I want to do stuff. I want to be cool.
It is interesting because when you listen to a D&D podcast or you watch like Critical Role or whatever, you can't really interact. So you're just like, this is really cool. But when you're sitting there and you could say something, you're just like, I want to fucking, you guys are being dumb. Just push the button. Like, do this one thing.
Yeah.
It's so hard not to say anything.
And it was interesting for Drew and I as well, because after like Roz and Ferguson died, like immediately we had to come up with a new idea of what we were doing and what the plan was. So Charlotte and Krusk was about like 3 weeks of planning, I think, something like that.
Yeah. We made the comment the same episode they died, like not on like. I think it was right after, but then it was 3 weeks of thinking, and then we're gonna do that, and then 3 weeks of like just solid planning out the characters.
After they died, it was like right after I was like, okay, I'm sick of this shit. We're gonna do God Squad, okay? We're gonna have a cleric married to a paladin, and we're gonna fucking smite the shit out of this. But then I stuck with cleric, and Drew decided to go more the ranger route. But it was like in that same episode, we all had to be like, fuck, what do we got to do next? Like, how are we going to come back? And it just felt very organic to say, well, if you're going to introduce two characters, you might as well have them connected in some way. So it makes sense for them to be a married couple. And Drew and I were genuinely very excited to make everybody very, very grossed out by us.
And I think we succeeded.
We succeeded
on everyone
in like
except for Nick.
First 5 minutes.
I was like,
I was ready for it. I was thinking about it for Vin.
There wasn't.
I was basically like, for Vin, I was just like, that's kind of also part of the reason he's a little short, because he's been dealing with a married couple for the past how many. Not
just a married couple. Don't want to go too into it, but if I were hanging out with Krusk and Charlotte for a long time, I would get real fucking sick of their shit.
We made all sorts of jokes about like over the year, like Ven walking into libraries or different rooms and being like, "Here, guys, this is."
I need those books for stuff and things.
No, don't touch it. It's gross. Also, Undead Man, that flashback just kind of happened into that whole episode. It wasn't meant to be a flashback in the episode where he was horribly murdered.
Oh yeah, I forgot if we mentioned that on the last Talking Initiative.
I think we did, but like it worked out so great that was the episode where the flashback appeared in the episode. It just happened to
as a refresh in case you missed that episode. The bathtub sequence was recorded at the end of episode 32's recording session, and then the death happened. So all that like hubris and karma and foreshadowing was just circumstantial.
Yep.
And thank you, Kitty Cat. Charlotte and Krusk are adorable.
Thank you. I agree.
Thank you. It only gets more gross from here. It really does.
I liked it because
it actually does.
I like it. It's a different type of relationship. I mean, we had been growing these characters, and characters have come and go, but we haven't actually had two people that were in a relationship before. So it's cool, and seeing how our year later characters interact with that. Like I feel like while me as a person was in love with the two of you as a couple, Kent's pre-flashback would have been all just like me, all over that. But then new Kent is a little bit like, oh, that's cute, but like I got a mission to do, and I liked it.
I'm a dubbed post-war Kent.
Post-war
also,
Kent. Yes.
Someone reminded me, and I don't know when I said it, but someone reminded me I called Kent a height pervert at some point. I don't remember saying that.
Yeah, you did.
Yep.
Like some weird height pervert.
Yep. That's true.
Well,
it was when I was you basically put me on the spot, and you were like, please explain all these party members and why they are important to you. And I was like, why you got to do this to me?
that would be a different game of D&D, Kitty Cat Cat.
Yeah.
What?
She says in the game in the show with a giant orgy.
It just becomes.
I mean, we are going to Castle Ravenloft. So.
We have a few episodes left.
Anything is possible.
I mean,
Strahd is a regular pervert.
Oh no, Strahd's not invited.
Well, I'm just saying he would be the person who has like, this is my orgy room.
He definitely would, but Strahd is also the kind of person who like comes and then is like, so that's good, you sorted? Okay, bye. And you're like,
So for the for all you guys listening, we've had an ongoing joke of what if we redid Curse of Strahd, but set it in the theme of what we do in the shadows. So we go into the castle, and he's like, "Oh, hello, welcome to my castle. This is all my things. This is where people die. Don't step there because you'll immediately die. But you can go over here. It's very nice."
I think that's a trap. And when someone dies, just be like, oh, I forgot about that one.
I would love to have Zach Valenti do that voice.
That'd be a very different game, though.
Yeah.
Also, you couldn't do it from the way we started to that. You just couldn't make those mesh.
No.
But let's actually get back to 37.
Yeah.
We've tangented
I
real
think
fast.
that's the end of 37. Was
Yeah,
you
that's where we
guys-
stopped.
Yeah, it was just planning.
Planned.
Yeah,
We got into a
we did
fight,
plan.
and then we
And
held it, and then we.
Josh's very favorite thing happened, which is when I asked him to do divination for me, which I feel like that discussion was a lot longer, and maybe it got cut. It was, because I was listening to it and I was like, I remember arguing with you a lot longer than this episode lends you to believe. But it was very much the shit with augury is it's basically a spell to tell you, are you going to TPK? Like, is this going to wreck your shit, or are you going to be fine? It's not really supposed to be like, no matter what, this will turn into a good circumstance. And after our very real situation with, if I had been Charlotte and we were going into the coffin maker house and I cast augury, that would have been like, whoa, get your fucking ass out there. Don't do that. So coming off of that, I was like, I know we're going to have to go in the house, but I just want to double check and make sure it's not a trap. So...
Kitty Cat Cat, just to let you know, I can actually pull up the file itself, but I believe we recorded this episode around Christmas.
I think so.
It was because Kitty was in the tree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hi,
Episode
Arch.
37 was recorded December 9th, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
And R. Murphy, thank you. I'm glad that I delivered the best line in 37. Official Twitch chat.
Well,
I get
it's official now.
I'm going to go buy one of those weird plastic Oscars that says best line. Best line in episode 37. Very specific.
And then in like quotes, hype pervert right after.
Yes.
I'm gonna buy you a shirt that just says hype pervert, and you're gonna have to wear it every day.
Honestly, I'd wear that. I would wear that fucking shit. I would wear that to cons and shit.
Josh, did we ever figure out if that do you remember when we were talking about the year later and I was talking about Kent's first sexual experience?
That never
panned out.
A recording in any sense?
Nope.
No, but I will tell you right now, everyone, it was definitely Van Richten.
Oh, teacher student. No,
I'll tell you
come
right
on.
now. There was
Daddy
it turned
issues.
into a weird teacher student anime. And
Oh,
there
yeah.
was definitely Van
You
Richten
can't
and-
stop that train.
No,
the
it just
anime
happened.
train.
Nick, since we're done recording, if you would like to make whatever it was that happened during the year canon now,
But hold on one second, because I have to get one thing.
Oh, Morgan needs to get it.
we all know what she's got.
We know
What's she gonna
Yeah,
get?
we know what she's gonna get.
Yeah,
I don't
Nick,
know.
you'll
what she's
find
gonna
out in
get.
like.
What is she
I know
gonna get?
exactly what she's gonna get.
Me and Celeste are together. What
She brings it out almost every time we talk about Kent.
My small one's at work.
There we go.
Oh.
There it is.
So it was. I had talked to Josh about this because I was hoping that it would come across later, but the idea would be that during the year after the year happened, we would come across a bar, and it would be revealed that the bartender, who was a man, was actually Kent's first sexual experience over the year. He probably left the group, went to a bar to get a drink, and hit it off with a guy, a tall man, like a human-sized man.
Pervert.
He's still a hype
A tall
pervert. But yeah, he's
Hype
a little
pervert.
bi-curious. He doesn't discriminate. So it would not be a tall lady. It would be a tall man. That would be his first. But yeah,
I
I
was
love it.
deeply happy about this. That was one of the questions that we have is like, is there anything in the recording that got cut that you're sad that didn't make it? something that physically could not have made it into the podcast was the moment where we found out that Vladimir was married to what's his butt?
To Godfrey.
Godfrey. Yeah. And I was so excited during that. I had a smaller pride flag on my desk and I was like, so excited.
Yeah.
Bucky, Nick, and Morgan.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry,
Arch
Celeste.
says, Kent had a first sexual experience. Why is this not bonus content? And I posit because you didn't want to flirt with Nick on an episode.
That I don't give a shit.
Okay, first off, I would flirt with Nick on any episode.
No, Josh would have to flirt with Nick because it's bonus content. So it's
Oh.
just Josh and Nick. Hold on, wait, no. I want
Guys.
to paint the scene. It's just Josh and Nick on a Zoom call by themselves, flirting with each other in character.
We compliment each other all the time.
All the time.
Yeah, but it's way more intimate when you're just staring at the camera. Yes,
I would
Kent,
like
you're
to
so
say
sexy with your tiny halfling body.
Who asked this?
Oh, that was Arch.
Hi, Arch. I would like to encourage you to remember that fan fiction exists.
Fan fiction does exist.
Anything that you want,
Anyone who writes X-rated fanfic, send it to me. Send it to me.
We get a taking initiative tag on Archive of Our Own. I will die a happy woman.
There's a whole year of stuff that is not covered.
That's true.
That we are
Get your
open.
freak on.
We do have a couple of fan fictions already written that's been given.
True, we do. Those were great.
Awesome.
That was amazing. When you texted me and you were like, dude, there's some fan fiction that's been written. I was like,
oh man.
And most of it was Kent related.
I forgot I was writing a fanfic and I didn't get to finish it. I got to finish that.
Yeah.
I was writing a Kent fanfic.
Yeah.
Really?
Really quick, Arch, to answer your question, the way that I wanted to run the story personally, anything that was pivotal to the story, I did not want as bonus content. I wanted it in the narrative. I didn't want these little kind of things off to the side. I wanted it solidified front to back.
All right, well, you all heard it here first. Josh just claimed that Kent having his first sexual experience is pivotal to the story.
Yep.
Everybody heard it.
And he was hoping that we would come across. It just didn't come across.
It didn't happen.
It's what changed Kent into the man that he is now.
I'm very happy that after I joined this podcast, it got like 80% more gay. I really feel like that's my legacy, and I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
To be honest,
everybody,
the module itself does have gay elements to it, which is really good on Wizard's part of.
It's 10:37, and because this was 35 to 37, we're gonna jump to questions now.
Questions.
What we're gonna do, because Celeste is a guest and she's here. Celeste, if you will open that link, you get to ask a question.
Oh, okay.
First question.
Who said it?
Hold it up.
And then the question.
Yeah, just say who said it. And you don't have to read the Discord part because I don't know why I have that on there.
Okay.
What about
All
what's
right.
the purple difference there, Drew?
The purple one we half answered on the last talking initiative.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. All right. So I get to pick any of these?
Any of them.
Yep. Any question you want.
Okay.
We probably should have let you read them beforehand, but
no, that's okay. This is more fun. Okay. Oh, this is. Okay. Well, we have to help settle a bet. Okay. Is everybody ready? Okay. This is from Castle, and the question is: help settle a bet. What is the definition of a dragon?
It has a pouch.
is this a trick question?
It doesn't have a pouch. Dragons don't have pouches.
They should.
No, that's a marsupial. Dragons are not marsupials.
It's a fantasy realm. We could do whatever we want.
Okay, but you know what happened the last time someone
Do you like how I just dropped that bomb in there?
They had the last time someone just did whatever they want, they made pouch werewolves, and the Howling 3 happened, and it's a terrible movie.
So
to Nick, it's a dragon with a pouch.
It's a dragon is, in my opinion, a four-legged beast with giant wings, scales, and a pouch. If they don't have a pouch, then it's not a dragon. It's a lizard. And
with wings.
A lizard with wings, which is
terrifying.
My definition is that it is a lizard with a theft problem. How do you say? What's the condition? The
kleptomania.
Kleptomania. It's a lizard with kleptomania.
I will say it is a vain reptilian beast that tends to have wings in its adult form that likes to hoard and is normally tyrannical. If it is of a chromatic variety, and if it's of metallic, they tend to stand for better things, but are still pretty vain.
Oh my God!
Thank you, Webster Merriam.
So many syllables. Sorry.
I would define it as the best monster ever, obviously.
You know what, Armor? I think if it's going to have a pouch, it better be an interplanar pouch to store a portable horde.
But bag of holding dragon?
Yes,
really?
But dragons don't have pouches.
Dragon of holding? What?
Oh, just combine the dragon and the astral dreadnought.
Next campaign.
That's terrifying.
I'm not dealing with this. All right. Hey.
But John, your favorite thing is a dragon. What's a dragon?
Another one.
Oh no, I'm with Celeste.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Dragon is the best mythical beast, better than the unicorn and the fucking anything combined.
All right, I've got to end this call because you just said some nonsense.
Anyway, next question.
You want to know what the best mythical creature is? Pretty sure it's called a squonk.
Dragons, obviously.
It's not
That's
dragon.
done.
It's a squonk.
Okay.
Some question.
All right, we have one again from Kazel. In a year of downtime, there's no way Kent didn't steal Van Richten's gun and try to dual wield. How did it turn out?
It turned out terribly. I think it
turned out awfully.
in my head canon, he would wait until Van Richten was asleep. After like
Van Richten never sleeps.
A boozy night out. A boozy night out. Van Richten's already like liquored up, sleeping heavily. Kent would sneak into his bed, give him a little kiss on the cheek, and then grab his gun, go outside, and start like firing. But of course, like his gun already is too big. So now 2 guns way too big. Bah, bah, bah. Like it's going crazy. Van Richten comes out, realizes that he's stolen his gun. And Kent literally just has like a kid that got caught doing something terrible and like just hands the gun back and doesn't say anything and just goes away. So
I think I would have taken your gun too and then spent a week teaching Callista how to shoot and you weren't allowed to touch it.
Okay, there it goes.
No, first Callista and then Ismark and then he gets
Yep, that's it.
Good.
You don't know this, but
Good,
Callista
good.
and Ismark are half a level of a gunslinger.
Half a level.
Just every time Kent fucked up, they got a little bit better with that gun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay. Oh, here's another one that's kind of interesting, also from Kazel. What non-D&D podcasts would you recommend?
In the Dark.
What are those?
It's an investigative.
No, I mean non-D&D podcasts.
I know. But In the Dark is an investigative journalism podcast about like focuses on a single crime over the course of the season, but goes into less about the actual crime and more about like the judicial and like investigative services around it and like what falls through the cracks. It is outstanding. Sorry, I just got off the 2nd season and I'm like recommending that to everybody who breathes around me.
No reason to apologize for recommending awesome stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I will personally recommend, as I have recommended through the duration of this podcast, Wolf 359. It is completed. You can binge it front to back. You will be sad when it's over, but it is an amazing series. It features Zach Valenti, who voices Strahd in our podcast.
A babe.
They are some of the nicest people I have ever met. Gabrielle Urbina, Sarah Shackett, Zach Valenti, the entire cast is amazing people. They make great content, and you can binge it and enjoy the comedy and be creeped the hell out at the same time. It's awesome.
Nick?
The first podcast I ever listened to, The Weekly Planet, I still listen to it to this day, but I am currently obsessed with another show on their network called Do Go On. 3 comedians pick a topic every week, and they try to tell to teach that topic to the other 2, and the other 2 comedians are just there to derail the conversation as often as they can. And I, every week, find myself laughing from beginning to end. I love those guys.
Bucky?
So I don't have quite the podcast like list as all of these guys do, but I will recommend one of my favorite non-RPG podcasts is Limetown. I love Limetown. It's an audio drama. It's so good. It's about a journalist who goes into this town called Limetown that was filled with a bunch of people, and one day they all just mysteriously vanished, and she's trying to figure out what the fuck happened. It's so good.
It's very good.
Watch it. It's like 6 episodes, and it's super short.
Celeste, do you have one?
Listen to it.
Well, I know Morgan's gonna be behind this wreck, but lately I've been binging on My Favorite Murder, which is 2 awesome female comedians who talk about why they love murder and like all the crazy murders that have happened in this awesome, funny true crime podcast.
It's called My Favorite Murder.
My favorite.
Stay sexy, don't get murdered. I love it. Yeah, it's
Call your
really
father.
good.
You're in a cult.
Yep.
Stay out of the forest.
So I have like 30 podcasts, and
Pick your top.
I have to thank. Hold on, guys.
While you think of that one, we can also always recommend the Spark Network ones. And
go ahead
it's D&D related, the Venture Maidens, of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, the Venture Maidens podcast. What's that?
Okay,
Sounds awesome.
I have two. Only two. One is it's RPG related and one's not. The RPG related one is System Mastery. Go listen to two fucking chuckle fucks talk about old and terrible RPG systems. It's great, and you can be like, oh, never do that if I design a RPG game. They're all 90% of them are bad. The other one, the non-RPG one, I'm gonna have to say, I've been really enjoying small town horror lately. I'm going through that. It's on like the 3rd season.
Well,
Pretty good. It's about a guy who gets kidnapped and then runs away, and then he comes back to deal with his dead dad's estate. And oh my God, there's so many things all connected. It's very good.
I believe that's everybody.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. We have one for Drew here from C. Tate. Dear Drew, why do you keep making characters that you despise? Why, Drew?
Well, I don't. I actually love all of my characters, with the exception of Abraham, who was a joke, and then the joke wore thin very quickly. And also, I purposely made him a terrible misogynist and just a really bad person in general, and I don't think I could have played him for very long, so glad he's dead.
You were supposed to not like him.
Yes, you really were. You were supposed to not like him at all. He was not meant to be likable.
I have a hard time not liking.
You liked Abraham though, because you got to have some great interactions about
Stromboli
and
exactly.
But he was meant to be unlikable, and I'm glad he's dead. But I like all of my characters. I tend to have a million of them, but I like them all.
I play well off of absurdity, so Abraham and Callista, and Roz as well. Like I like these characters that are a little bit weird, so I could roll with that.
Mismo girl.
Oh, rolls.
Okay, I have a question here that I'm actually really interested in. Okay, wait. Kit_Battlebeard asks, have you ever used or encountered the Deck of Many Things?
No.
What's the Deck of Many Things?
What? Really? In D&D?
No.
It's one of the...
It's real experience with D&D is just basically with us, and D&D is for nerds, right? So,
yeah.
Because Celeste, you have at it.
Sorry, balloon machine going off. Okay, the Deck of Many Things. Yeah, crazy iconic D&D item. I put it in my campaign once. We had a rogue who had the luck feat, so you could re-roll options. So I gave him the option that he found a Deck of Many Things, and I allowed him to redraw cards with his feet. And this guy just kept going. He ended... Huh?
How do you draw cards with your feet?
So, because he had the luck feat to re-roll a dice, so I let him redraw a card. Wait, what?
Actual feat.
Oh, yes. He was very talented. Yeah, so this guy ended up pulling 6 or 7 things from the Deck of Many Things. He was imprisoned, but then had a demon that loved him forever, and then gained 3 levels, and then lost 1. It was insane.
Awesome.
I do not recommend putting it in anybody's game if you like your game or your
Nick,
players.
For some contest, the Deck of Many Things is something that DMs will usually give at the end game of a campaign, because it's literally a game ruiner.
Yeah.
You draw a card, and it could be something along the lines of you immediately gain 50,000 experience. That's cool. Or you're trapped in a dungeon, and the only way to get to you is to actually have to go through a labyrinth and go to another plane and actually find this person.
Yeah. Or you can
really
just
cool.
die,
Or you just immediately die.
get a wish, or it's crazy.
There's one of them where you get a follower who's 3 levels lower than you that just follows you around for a while.
Yeah.
Because they love you forever.
Yeah, there's oh my God.
Mercer did a very good job incorporating it into Critical Role, because everyone kind of just knew a little bit about it for it to be a little fearful. And the Barbarian got a hold of it.
Yep.
And it was a huge thing throughout. When he's alone, he's just sitting in the corner do I do it? Do I pull it? No, not doing it. But when you add it to a game with players that just, say if D&D is for nerds, if, Zamet and Doucher, got a hold of it, done. They're done. The campaign's over.
Challenge accepted. Josh, bring it into the next campaign. Let's do this.
Don't.
Bucky, you doing it.
Nick, if you got a hold of
Josh
that, I
has
think he would
no
die instantly.
control over the next campaign.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
You gotta talk to Mr. Buckmaster over there.
I will say my favorite card in the deck of many things is the one where some person in the world just hates you now.
Yeah,
Some random person in the world just doesn't like you anymore, and they will like if they see you, they will viciously attack you.
I love the idea if it's just some barkeep or some dyer going about their business, just like, and then also they're just like,
oh, welcome to my bar. Fuck you.
I don't know who this is, but I hate them. By the way, Celeste, Arch asks, when are you gonna guest on TLD? And then he put a weird, I don't know what that smooshy thing is.
It kind of looks like a brown Kirby.
Yeah.
Brown Kirby, I love it.
Brown Kirby.
Like a poop?
You're muted right now, by the way.
I don't know. Send me a message on Twitter and let's talk about it.
Yeah, look at that, making connections.
He's a
There we
great
go.
addition. A great addition. Definitely worth it.
Celeste, would you like to ask another question?
Oh, yes. Oh, now I had to pull up the chat to see what the brown Kirby was, obviously.
I don't know
No,
what it
it's
is, but I
very
like it.
cute.
It's cute.
Oh, okay. Here's one from Kit_Battlebeard. If you could make a new class, what would it be?
I made one, and you will see it in the next campaign.
It would be Warlord. Everyone's wrong. Warlord's great. Battlefield controllers. Bring them back. I will fight you all on this hill.
Here's
The only
where
thing
I
I will
die.
say about mine is mine is spellcaster based, and that is all that I'm going to say. But you will get this question answered in about a half a year for me.
In about a half a year. Oh, good.
Yeah.
A
Thanks.
new class. That's difficult.
I don't know.
Celeste, what would you make since the rest of them don't know?
Yeah, I mean, I would bring back psionics. That would be cool. So people who use psychic powers in their minds to destroy things. I think, in 3.5 we got a flavor of that, and then that's been missing so far from 5th edition. And I would love to see that.
Right? They have?
Yeah, just are not, but like officially
Yeah.
bring it back. I think that'd be awesome.
I don't know the extent of what's already been made well enough, but I've just recently been getting super obsessed into homebrew that I feel like if it's not officially made, somebody has already made it as well.
What kind of class would you like to see?
I'd like to be a chef. I'd like to be a cook. Just like a nice little, like a portly, chef. Just like wants to go around and just like make people happy with food.
I love this idea because you could have them use a frying pan as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
You could have them cook things and throw them to people in mid-battle.
Yeah.
Literally,
have
like
this
pots and
salted
pans.
ham.
Literally, Samwise Gamgee.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. I'd be Sam.
Morgan,
These eggs!
what would you like to see? What would you like to see, Morgan, as a class?
Morgan.
I don't know. You know what? I'm gonna lean into my women's college background, and I'm gonna say somebody who does interpretive dance
Ooh.
and like
Card.
can do who
Dancer
can like
bard.
manipulate things based on their like dance movements.
I will say, recently Final Fantasy XIV came out with new classes, and everybody was really hoping we would get the dancer. So yes, 100%, I would love to see a dancer class in D&D that does magical abilities through their dance.
Shadow Dancer.
Yes. Come on. Bucky, you have to answer something.
I think. All right, I've been watching a lot of My Hero Academia lately, and they all have super crazy fucking powers. And one of my favorite ones is this one character. He's like the edgelord in the show, and he's like a normal dude, but he's got like a crow face. He's got like a crow head, and his power is Dark Shadow, and he essentially has this like shadow demon that comes out of him. And the darker environment he is, the more like vicious and crazy the like thing gets. So like a warlock patron that could essentially have their patron be connected to them and use them in battle.
That would be cool.
I actually saw something on Twitter the other day, and I shared it with Josh and my buddy Hannah. And I like immediately wrote dibs because it was so cool. Where it was a warlock class, but it was like based on a symbiote.
Ooh.
And it was very cool. I'll see if I'll pop it on my Twitter so people can check it out. But that was very cool. I can't remember the Twitter person. I'm so sorry, but I will put it on my Twitter.
I actually I was making a Warlock class for John's Out of the Abyss game before that stopped becoming a thing, where I was making a Warlock based around the short story, that Lovecraftian short story that I wrote, The Weaver. Mm-hmm. Which was a beast or otherworldly thing that you couldn't see that was physically attached to you and would follow you around. Mm-hmm. And that was like the source of your power. So basically a combination of what you guys are saying, I also wanted to make.
There's also, I don't know if anybody's read the Night Angel trilogy.
I have, yes.
By Brent Weeks. And they have a really interesting take on mages where their like magic is stored in tattoos on their body, and they can manifest outside of their body as well. It's called the Vyr, like VYR. Brent Weeks is some cool shit with magic, guys. If you want to read something that's like very unoriginal or like very original and like unoriginal, very original and very fresh and very unpredictable. That's the word I was thinking of. He does a whole version of mages that have like cast based on color, and so like different people manipulate different magic based on what color they're attuned to, and they have all different glasses so they can see that color everywhere. Very, very cool shit.
Cool. He only has 3 series right now.
He's amazing. So good.
Very good author.
Yep.
Night Angel trilogy was really cool. Also fills the edgelord hole in everyone's life if you want to read about the edgelord.
The souped up assassins called Wet Boys.
Yes. Quick thing, Nick Arch wanted me to tell you that Neil plays a chef bard on his Sunday night campaign.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
And also Arch plays a psionic in The Lucky Die.
Yes, he plays a psionic.
Yes.
That's cool.
Hello, Fearless Guster.
Hello.
Fearless Guster. That's a great name.
So, last question. Celeste, would you like to ask?
Okay, all right. I feel like that one would be too long. But here, let's give one to Josh from Castle. For Josh, is it as fun as it looks to come up with eye for an eye style strawed revenge traps?
Fun, yes, because I get to kind of put my mind into somebody else and go on a strategy route. And anybody here can tell you that I love myself some strategy.
Never play him in chess.
So I do enjoy it. The process of coming up with it, though, it makes me equally sad as it does happy, because I also don't want to hurt my friends, but I am playing in a game where everything is supposed to hurt you, so I kind of have to. So it is fun. It is more so interesting than fun, though, to figure out what some evil person would do in a retaliating way that is also interesting to play and is not overpowered. So to try and balance that, like the house for a house thing was because Ven burnt down the vampire spawn house, which Strahd had plans for. He decided, cool, I will burn down this house, but I kind of left it up to the players to see what would happen, rather than just a, blatant, like strike someone down because of retaliating ways and then run off. So it's more so interesting for me. Yeah, it's fun.
On the flip side of that, we've gone to bed before and he's just been like, I'm sorry. Like, no, you're not sorry.
I am.
Not.
Well, that's us today. I also want to just say, Nick, I can watch you do this. I'm watching you type your own question in right now.
What? I don't know what
I'm watching you do it.
Sneaky.
And it's factual, though.
It is factual.
Better because Nick's here. And
I don't know.
Yeah,
anonymous.
So we're gonna do our outros. We're gonna start with Josh.
Hello again. I'm Josh Perault. I am the DM for Taking Initiative. You can find me on Twitter at XiroxisTheBeard. That's at XIROXIS the Beard. You can also find the podcast at TI_pod and the network at the_spark_net. If you want to see my work outside of the podcast, I am a online editor for TV and film post-production. I am going to be working on the newest season of Blue Bloods on CBS, as well as the new TV show for The Purge, which will be USA sci-fi show. keep an eye out at the Comic-Cons coming up, because I believe they will have some more information there about those.
Anything else you want to plug real fast?
I don't think so.
Okay. Bucky.
I'm your friendly neighborhood Bucky. You can find me on Twitter at Bucky_Masters. And you can find me on Monday on Nerd Immersion stream with Britt from the Venture Maidens, playing some Princes of the Apocalypse, where I get to be Ozzy, the Law Mastery Wizard with his British accent, and he's super fun to play because wizards are fun.
Oh, and both of us will be at Gen Con as well.
Hey!
I was waiting for one of you to fucking plug that before I did.
And Celeste.
Nicholas.
Too.
Gen Con. It's going to be...
We haven't got to
Get to meet in person. It's going to be so good.
I know! So excited.
Let Nicholas outro.
I am Nick Figueroa. I play Kent. You can find me on all social media at NikoFigs, NIKOFIGS.
And if you want to be really grossed out by an adorable couple,
Instagram.
And some
real life adorable couple.
I just got engaged a few months ago, so we are asking. There she is. So we are in that sweet spot, which is great. But yeah, you can find me anywhere on socials. I'm very friendly. I try to respond to everything, and go see Purge 4. I was the color assist on it, so it was good.
Lovely. Morgan.
I'm Morgan. You can find me on Twitter at ThistleRaven. My things to plug today are going to be that Karina at Days and Hours on Twitter is doing amazing spell cards that she has made herself. They are so beautiful. She's done an incredible job doing a graphic design of that. She's what she does for her real life, and you can tell because they're amazing. I think she's also going to be doing her own designed character sheets as well. She sent me the cleric and the paladin ones, and they are so stunning. I'm so excited to use them. She's great, and you should go check her out. It's Days and Hours on Twitter. She's got an Etsy store. She's amazing. And as always, get registered to vote. You still have plenty of time to do that. The New York primary for your federal elections just passed, but the general election is going to be in September for both your federal and your state stuff for New York. Look up your own election stuff in your own state. And I just want to say, like, at the very end of this, that every single one of us on this podcast is a total babe. And we're excited that our audience also mega babes. We're all super hot guys. Good job. Well done.
Drew, should you go next and we'll...
Yeah, I'll go next and we'll close out with Celeste. So I'm Drew Tillman. I will stop being that in a minute. You can find me on Twitter at NotThatDrew. You can find me on Taking Initiative, playing as something. You can find me every Thursday playing Moonlighter on Twitch, every Friday doing Couch for It. And Josh and Bucky, anyone who's going to be at Gen Con, if you find Josh and Bucky, go up to Josh and ask, "What's the buzz?" And Josh will hand you one of these.
Oh, it's a
I
beagle.
am so angry about that.
I'm going to record every single interaction.
Go find Josh at Gen Con and ask him what's the buzz and make him give you one of these.
It's a beak hole, Drew.
There's no beak. Look,
There is definitely the patch says definitely not a beak hole.
It's right on the patch, Josh.
On the patch.
If we get enough
a
people,
patch.
I will send a special one for
Go
you.
up to
Celeste.
Josh and ask him what's the buzz. And you'll get
I definitely will.
are we gonna have those for New York Comic Con?
Probably. We'll see how the demand for these are.
Yeah, we'll be there. Most of us will be there too, right? I believe.
Yeah, I think the only one who didn't get a ticket this year was me.
Ooh.
I did not have money.
We are going to be hopefully ordering tickets, Morgan and I, when they go on sale. So we are going
It's going to be soon again.
I already got mine, so
Well,
come
when
on.
they get on sale, I may pick one up and go anyway. Also, I will be at PAX Unplugged. I don't know about anyone else. Is anyone else going?
No.
PAX Unplugged? Okay.
No.
It'll be
know.
me and
Yeah,
Arch
maybe.
from the Spark Network. Maybe Bucky. I will possibly also have these. I will let you know closer when it gets closer and I find out how many I have left laying around. That's pretty much it for me. So, Celeste, take it away.
Hi, everybody. I have been and always will be Celeste Konowich. You can find me on Twitter at @ckonowich, but you can usually find me DMing on the D&D podcast Venture Maidens. So check that out. I'm the DM over there, so follow us on Twitter at Venture Maidens. Also on alternating Mondays when Bucky isn't playing, I am also playing on Nerd Immersion, playing Leopold, who is a super sexy bard that will sleep with anything. So check that out. And
Speaking of that, though, be on the lookout for some stuff that might be happening at Gen Con with us.
We've got some crossover planned. Yep, and I will also be at Gen Con, so please hit me up about that. I'll be posting my schedule for that soon if anybody wants to meet and chat. So, and thank you all so much for having me on here again. I love talking and hanging out with you all.
And to further pitch your stuff that also crossovers with us, if you are a $5 patron or above, you can currently listen to the Meanwhile in Barovia series, The Marionette, DM'd by Mr. John Bucky Buckmaster, which features Celeste as the amazing tank. Also Sage from the Venture Maidens. We have Jonathan from Dungeon Drunks and Casey from the Lucky Die.
That game was so much fun.
It's a fun group. Yeah, so please go listen.
Tank is wonderful.
One of my favorite PCs I've ever made.
So good.
Yeah, I believe that's everything. Also, if anybody does happen to just want one of these, who's in the chat, let me know. I will send you one.
I do.
Great. I'm going to make sure you get one. Don't worry. Don't worry, Celeste. But if anyone else in the chat wants one, let me know. You'll get one. That's been us, everybody. Actually, I'm not sure about this, so let me ask the Taking Initiative people. Are we going to be back on our usual schedule next month?
4 weeks from now?
Yes.
So we're moving into
next 2 episodes.
Yes, because the next session I would have been on vacation, so since we missed the last one, we're just shifting.
That's what I wanted to know, because otherwise I was going to say really bombard us with questions, because if we're only talking about one episode, we need something to fill air.
No, it'll be on August 10th.
We really don't need questions to fill our Drew. We can.
We can talk.
We can talk, but
We're a chatty bunch.
give us stuff to chat about.
Yeah.
You know,
Chatty Cathy's.
Otherwise, we're just going to
give us something to talk about, as the song definitely does not say.
Let's go.
But that's been us. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back in 4 weeks. We will let you know the exact date. I mean, you can figure it out looking at a calendar, but we'll let you know more. We love all y'all.
Bye.
There is a beat cult. There is one.
There is not a beat cult. Don't listen to Josh. Josh is a liar. Bye, everybody.